Yes! That was a goal.
Iniesta, taquito de Iniesta.
Maestro Iniesta.
Quería Robben. Primero Navas, el niño. Va atacando el conjunto español, el niño para Iniesta. Fábregas, Iniesta. ¡Gol!
Nani, Moutinho, Ronaldo isolado, leva para Brasil, Ronaldo, bate, gol, ele é o único que ultrapassa os limites da lógica, Ronaldo, no mata-mata, Ronaldo matou, samba,
Must have a foot like a traction engine.
Tagliata, messa fuori, c'è Pirlo, ancora Pirlo di tacco, tiro, Grosso, gol di Grosso.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show about soccer. We're here with my friends Alex and Mike, and we're here to do a show for you guys. We're the experts. We're back. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but the seasons have started. The rocket has already taken off, and here we go. So listen, guys, what are we going to talk about first? First subject on the table. What should we look at?
The first league that opened was England, and we're 3 weeks in. We have Chelsea in command, with Swansea second place. And what do you think so far, Mike? 3 games in, I think the BPL's on fire.
Well, I really think so because I was actually watching a few games from the different leagues, and really the speed, the tempo, the EPL's got it, man. The EPL is where the excitement is at, especially this week. High scores, lots of goals. It's what everybody wants to see.
Lots of upsets. That's exactly what people want to see.
And that's what makes the EPL such a great league. I mean, it's really competitive. Anyone could win it. That's what happened last year. I mean, there was basically, 4 or 5 teams fighting for the top, whereas you have other leagues where that doesn't always happen. So let's start off with some EPL games, and we should probably look at the games from Saturday. Manchester United against Burnley. 0-0. It looks like Manchester is on fire so far, eh, guys?
Guys, what's wrong there? What is wrong? What is wrong with Manchester United? They brought in the big name in the coach, genius coach.
Yeah, but he's only a temp. He's only there for 1 year.
1 year.
Yeah, and he's going to be gone after the season's over. And I don't even think he's going to survive the season, to be honest. I think Manchester, they needed a really good defender. They lost Vidic. They probably didn't replace him. They have no they needed another midfielder, someone who's tough, who could, someone a good destroyer. They haven't gotten that player. So yeah, I think that they made, obviously having Di Maria as a good addition. He's going to help them. But I don't think they're addressing the problems that really hurt this team last year. And I don't even think Van Gaal is the guy. I think that they're going to have a tough time replacing Ferguson. That's probably one of the biggest coaching changes probably in history. I mean, he was there for more than 20 years, right, Fergie?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're going to have a really, really tough time changing the culture that he created.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think Di Maria is a step in the right direction for sure. I don't know about you guys there, but today I was listening to a replay of the game, and if I could say there was any positive moments, the positive moments were in the first half coming from Di Maria. His movement on the ball, on and off the ball. You guys know how well he carries the ball, and he did it with Madrid, and he's doing it again with Manchester already with his debut.
Actually, a little later we're going to talk about Madrid and the whole Di Maria deal.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that's a good. I think that's a good move, a step in the right direction for sure. Absolutely, and I'm happy that they let go of Nani, brought him back to Sporting, and he can get some playing time.
Garbage player. So
Let me add that in.
yeah, crowbar that in. He's not that good of a player.
He sat on the bench a long time at Manchester, and now he's gonna get some playing time. He's gonna get some first string football.
Yeah. So I mean,
He already had time to miss a penalty, I think.
Really pitiful start so far for Manchester United. 3 games in, you got only 2 points. 2 draws, and you lost your opening match, and then you lose in the Capital One Cup. You lose 4-0 to MK Dons.
Yeah.
I
What's
wouldn't-
happening?
I wouldn't want to be a Manchester United fan.
What's happening,
I
bro?
don't know.
Somebody should go in that dressing room and say, "What's happening?" Because there's something going on there. Somebody's not happy. Yeah.
Right, so they're fucked basically. Moving on to other results, we have Stoke City pulling the upset on Manchester City. I don't understand how a team like Manchester City drops points when you have guys like Kuhn and Jovetic and Nasri and Fernando on the field. It doesn't make any sense.
And just to add to that, their first 2 games were against Newcastle and Liverpool, and they won them both.
Yeah,
So they end up losing to Stoke and at home.
They didn't look. I saw that Newcastle game. They didn't really look that good. I mean, even though I think they won, was it 2-0 in their opening?
Yeah.
They played. They got a goal, and then they just allowed Newcastle to get in the game, and I thought Newcastle were unlucky not to get a point. So they have a ton of talent, but they're just not playing that well. Moving on, Mike.
I caught Newcastle United and Crystal Palace. It was a 3-3 draw. Really, really exciting game. And I think the player who really impressed me the most was the player that I don't know. Nobody really knows. His name is Rolando Aarons. Apparently he was born in Jamaica, grew up in England. Anyways, this kid was on fire. He's only 18 years old. Hit, I think, a post from a wicked shot outside the box. Ended up scoring one even. Was really, really impressed. Was really,
Jesus
really
Christ.
impressed with this player.
Peter Crouch still plays.
He does?
Yeah. Look.
Peter Crouch is a formidable player.
Oh man. Anyway, sorry. I was looking at Stoke City. Okay, we're talking about Newcastle, Crystal Palace.
I didn't see that fucking game, so I can't really say anything about it.
I mean,
No.
Mike, Everton, Chelsea.
Everton Chelsea was, I would say, out of all the leagues, the game of the week. Finished 6-3. It really looked. I mean, the scoreline is really flattering for Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
But that really was not the case at all, because what ended up happening was Chelsea scored 2 early goals, and then after that, Everton. I mean, they had this "we won't die" attitude, man, and they managed to always make that game open. I mean, Jose Mourinho I only saw him celebrating when it was 5-3 at the 77th minute, because he even knew Everton had a chance, and they had so many chances.
Everton has amazing players, man. A lot of good players, young guys.
Dude, Baines, Barry, and Morales
Yeah.
on the left wing were just
Yeah.
completely destroying.
Absolutely, yeah. You're not even Lukaku had a bunch of challenge. Didn't he hit a post?
Lukaku really was a little bit like you really didn't see much of him during this game. He honestly didn't get that many chances, and he maybe took a shot from outside the box. Was, I would say, probably more of an uneventful game for him. But there was a lot of runs coming from the midfield. And, I mean, look, Chelsea has these world-class players. Diego Costa is going to be the most hated player in the league. It seems like wherever he goes, he becomes the most hated player in the league. But you know what? Everybody wants this guy on their team because he's a difference maker. And I think when he scored the first goal of this game, which ended up being his third goal of the season, he ended up scoring, he scored a late one. So far he has 4 goals in the league. His third goal, though, his first goal of this game, ended up being his third shot. So he scored out of the 3 shots he got on net so far this year. They were all basically goals.
He didn't he score at 37 seconds in this game?
Yeah, it was this, a super early goal. They came out swinging, man.
Yeah.
Chelsea came out swinging. Ivanovic found himself like way up front and ended up scoring the second goal in the 3rd minute. And then, I thought this is going to be a blowout victory. This game is dead. No, but Everton kept fighting, man. They had a lot of grit, and they gave them a hell of a game. And what was funny, or actually what was weird, was seeing Eto'o playing for Everton against Chelsea, and he ended up scoring a goal.
Yeah,
I
he
think
did get a goal.
They put him on like around the 75th, and like 1 minute later, he ended up scoring a header.
Yeah, and he got a chance later on too. He was alone 1-on-1 or.
Look, for the amount of time that he was on the field, he had a really good game. And I don't know what number he's sporting now, but he has like this. I don't know what number he's sporting, but he was sporting like a weird number. I forget what number it was there. It's just weird, seeing Eto'o in an Everton jersey.
Is this his last club?
Probably not, man.
No, eh?
There's a rumor that Eto'o is 43 years old, according to his ex-girlfriend. I'm not even joking. But
He's
guys,
a beast.
Before we move on, what are your thoughts on Chelsea in general?
I think they're probably the best team in the world right now.
In the world?
Well, I mean, if you look at Barca, Real Madrid, all these other teams right now in Europe, Chelsea's hot, man. You have to give it to them. And they won 6-3 against a team that's not a shit team, man.
They also leaked. I mean, it's unlike a Mourinho team to leak 3 goals. But I guess,
John Terry. John
Everton
Terry's-
was playing at home.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, it was one of those games, man. It was wide open, and they just played that way. Mourinho basically said it was 2 teams that wanted to score and wanted to win, and this is the result that you get. You get a 6-3. And as a fan of the game, it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
I was so sure that Diego Costa would be a flop, a Shevchenko level flop. It doesn't look
man.
like that's going to be the case. I think this guy was tailor built for
And the connection,
Mourinho.
The connection is there with Fabregas. He really looks for him. They look for each other. They were trying to hack down Diego Costa every chance they could get, really getting under his skin. Even the fans were booing every touch he had. When he was in Brazil playing the World Cup, wherever he goes, this guy's hated. But you know what? He scores goals, and he's an awesome player.
Most complete team. Even having Courtois back in nets. Czech is great too, but I think Courtois is. Are you going to look at Courtois the way you look at Casillas and Buffon?
He conceded 3, but he made a couple of big saves also.
He's good. No denying. Moving on, guys. Liverpool Spurs. I saw this one this morning. I was really, really impressed with Liverpool, and obviously this was the debut of Super Mario Balotelli, who had a decent game, didn't score, but he looked like he fits into the nucleus of this team. Spurs were a little disappointing, couldn't score, but man, what a goal by Alberto Moreno, man! That was such a
coming down the wing and just
Bombing
outside
down
the box, blasts
with
it
a
almost
laser.
off the post.
Exactly, a laser beam into the corner. That was probably one of the nicest goals I saw today. What do you guys think of this Balotelli move?
I think that this is a move, even though I don't know what was the reasoning behind it, if it was money, if they don't like Balotelli. But I watched Milan preseason friendlies, and I think that people thinks that this guy shouldn't be a guy that should be playing for Milan. I think that I see Balotelli in the same way I see Ibrahimovic. Okay, when you have a guy like Balotelli or Ibrahimovic, it sort of, I could say, maybe breaks up the play, in the sense that you have a guy like Ibrahimovic on your team, and you saw this when Ibra was playing for Milan. Basically, what happens? You give the ball to him, and you more or less let him handle the situation. You know what I'm saying? So you lose that team build-up, that team play. And I think that people probably favors having maybe even a guy like Pazzini, as much as he sucks, and let the rest of the team, have that build-up, give the ball to him, And I think that Milan, you know, they don't suck as bad as a lot of these experts are telling you they suck. And we also saw that today, and we'll talk about them a little bit more. But they got a couple of fast players and like guys like Menez. I saw Niang. I don't know if this guy's going to be a starter. The kid, the young guy. El Shaarawy looks like he's back. I saw Trofeo Tim, and I saw Honda playing a hell of a game. So, I mean, he's the X factor. What if Honda has a good season? Because he hasn't had a good season in the past.
In reference to Liverpool,
Look, Liverpool has these guys like Sterling and Sturridge, who, for me, I saw the extended highlights. I didn't see the full game, but it looked like Sterling was just on fire. It was just ripping it up all over the field. A guy like Balotelli, I don't know, man. I think he might just end up being an option after, because
I think this move is brilliant because Balotelli, we saw it for Milan and we saw it for Italy. You cannot rely on him to be the leader. If you're looking to a retard like Balotelli to be the leader, you're gonna fucking lose. On Liverpool, I think this is gonna work out for him because he's surrounded by really good players.
The leader in what sense? The leader in
He's
terms
the
of.
guy. Well, in Milan, he was the leader of the team. He was. I wasn't the captain. Actually, was the captain. I don't remember. It wasn't Balotelli, but he.
Abbiati, I think.
Yeah,
obviously.
one of those old farts. But Balotelli, he was always looked upon, and he was the guy to pass the ball to. He would make everything happen. He was the boss of Milan on the field. Now we have Gerrard, we have Sterling, we have Sturridge.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
for that reason, I think that Balotelli, we never were really sure how to define him, like as a player. Is he, you know what I mean? Is he an out and out striker? Is he a guy that you want outside the box? Is he a support striker? Should he be playing a little bit more on the? I think that by force he will have to be an out and out striker for Liverpool.
Yeah, but see now they.
And I think that's what we saw today. And he fucked up a couple of occasions, especially with his
but
head.
he's still fresh. He doesn't, you know.
So
there's
there's
teammates.
some parts of his game, like finishing with his headers, that if he's going to become that out and out striker, he's got to improve on.
Yeah.
But we saw a couple of we saw some good connection with him and Sterling and Sturridge.
Yeah, I think they're gonna kill Jeff.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm with you, Al. I think the fact that he's not going to be the one, the go-to guy, the leader, supposedly the leader in the team, being with some old heads, Stevie G.
Also, just looking at the defensive lineup, there wasn't Skirtle and there wasn't Danny Agger, right?
I think the Agger, if I'm not mistaken.
What's
left.
up with that? Because they should be Agger left.
If I'm not mistaken, he's gone, and I know that Skirtle is injured.
Okay.
Yeah, he's back in Brøndby. He's back in Denmark.
Oh wow.
That's it for him.
Which is crazy because I think he probably could have got. There probably could have been a big team in Europe looking for Agger. I mean, he's not.
Quite a few, and that were willing to pay a salary, which isn't
32, 33?
cost a pretty penny, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, he's 29.
29, man.
So I don't know. I
tired.
don't know what's happening there, Agger. Arsenal, Leicester City. I completely this one went off my radar.
Yeah, I saw bits and parts of it.
For this one, people are screaming that Arsenal need an out-and-out striker. They need
Giroud, no?
Giroud's not enough.
No, they're saying Giroud's not enough. They need
That's
somebody
crazy.
better. And I was
Arsenal
just like-
fans never stop complaining.
There's also Alexis Sanchez. Like I didn't see in the other opening games, but Alexis Sanchez, Electric Sanchez, always looks good. I mean,
Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
he's such an amazing player. And
What a great player.
he looks like he's getting into the team, and he scored already 2 goals.
Yeah, I believe he had one in an earlier game.
Yeah. What I didn't like today was Ozil. Very quiet. I didn't see too much from Ozil.
Yeah, listen, there were 5 points. There was a 1 win, 2 draws. Arsenal, until they have that. Listen, I don't rate Wenger at all. I don't think he's a good manager. I think that he will until Arsenal have him, they'll be forever, mediocre. So I mean, I'm not surprised that they're even. I'm not surprised that even with good players, they're still not at 100%. That's me.
No, they didn't play well today. I mean, Leicester give them a very good game. Very, very good game. Came back, scored right after
Alexis Sanchez
scores.
goal.
Electric Sanchez scores maybe 3 minutes later. This guy, Uyara, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Beautiful header. Beautiful header. So I think...
Ulloa.
Uyola.
Ulloa.
I think Arsenal can be a better team. They have a lot of good players, but I don't know. I don't agree with what I was hearing today about needing an out-and-out striker. I think Giroud is good, but I think they have guys like I'll say it again, Electric Sanchez that can put the ball in the net. Fast guys, low center of gravity, move so well. And Ozil needs to step up a little bit more, create a little bit more for guys who come on in the second half, like Podolski and Oxlade-Chamberlain that came on.
Podolski, from what I heard, was a guy that they were looking to basically offload.
Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Where would he go?
They say that he's a low-cost operation for a lot of teams, and that's why there's a lot of interest, and Arsenal's willing to sell him for not a lot. I don't know how much.
I
truth
heard
there is to
rumors
that.
about Juve.
I
don't know how good that is. I mean, overall, I think the BPL's. 3 games in, it's delivered a lot of action so far.
It was a good week.
We have Chelsea and Swansea on top with 9 points apiece. I think eventually it's only a matter of time before. I think Chelsea will go number 1, and then it's probably going to be a dogfight for number 2 between Liverpool and Manchester City. I know that Manchester are going to start to pick up points, and they're probably going to get a good. Ride a good wave, but I don't think I think they're on the outside looking in. I think the best that they can hope for is a 4th spot. So,
Well, Manchester have to pick up points. I mean, the guys need to start clicking soon. It's crazy. It's insane, the roster, and that it's not. They're getting no result.
Okay, so
Putana.
moving on.
Serie A.
Everyone's favorite league, Serie A. Always the last league to start. Always late to the party. And then they wonder why their Champions League teams always are outperformed. So yesterday we saw some really good games. We saw Juventus Chievo. Well, I wouldn't call it that good, but had some good action. Mike, what'd you think?
I didn't think it was a great game, especially when I was watching. I went from watching EPL to the Juve Chievo game, and it was like completely different tempo.
It had some good moments. Though,
Look, I don't know what the reason for that is. Generally speaking, Serie A is a slower tempo. It's a lot more breaking up, fouls. But to me, it seemed like it might not even be a question of fitness. I think Chievo was just content to contain and allow Juve a certain amount of space and let them basically just walk all over them in their own half and just try and keep as many guys behind the ball as possible and defend. What surprised me was Paloschi. Paloschi didn't start, but they have Maxi Lopez in their. He's basically playing as their out-and-out striker.
Out-and-out striker, but I mean,
Chievo Verona.
For the system they play,
Just
I guess,
a guy that gradually, it seems like from each move he made to like a worse and worse team.
Worse,
It went from like Barcelona to like I don't know what
Catania.
Catania to like now Chievo,
Milan.
Milan, yeah, right.
The Samp.
But how many games did he really play?
Yeah. I think Chievo's big problem is that even last year, Chievo were one of the worst teams there to watch in Serie A last year.
They're horrible, man. And the only guy that really I felt like was actually running a little bit Schelotto, but Birsa. For me, Birsa was maybe one of the few players that was at least, you know what I mean? That was not behind the ball defending,
Well, if you watched the Chievo last year, they were probably the most
slow.
I wouldn't even say slow. I would say that they had absolutely no ability to create offense. So, I mean, I saw that they got a lot of new players. And I think a guy like Birsa was, a C-level trequartista. I think it works out for them. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Juve had a particularly bad game. I don't think they had a particularly good game.
I thought it was going to be 4-0 within the first 2 minutes. I thought it was like, I think Juventus were going to win this at least 4-0.
I don't know. They were hit with some type of, everybody was down with the flu. A lot of players were out. They ended up starting this kid called Coman.
Kingsley Coman.
So where's this guy from, Al? He's coming out of France. I think he came out of the PSG youth system or something like that.
Yeah, he's a PSG youth.
And this is
only 18 years old.
This is a guy that should be playing, from what I heard, for the Juve Primavera, right?
Oh, he's 18, so yeah, he qualifies to play for the youth squad.
But out of necessity, Allegri decided to start this guy. And man, I don't know, who was your player of the game? I think for me it was him.
He only played 60 minutes. I think he was subbed off at the 60. So I think that, yeah, well, actually, I thought Cáceres was really good. Yeah, I would say that he was one of the top performers. I was really impressed. I never saw him before. I only heard about him, and that's ballsy. You know, first game of the season, you bench your star and Llorente, and you start this 18-year-old French kid, and he didn't score, but he looked really good.
I think he knocked one off the post, and he had some good chances. But look, Juve only had 3 shots on goal. Chievo had 2. Buffon made a big save on
Maxi Lopez.
On Maxi Lopez. I don't know how you miss a sitter like that. He slipped while he was right in front of the net, open goal in front of Buffon, but managed to get enough on it to at least get a shot out of it, and Buffon just robbed him point blank.
Boofs.
So, look,
boofs.
Juve ends up keeping guys like Pogba, Vidal. I think that's important, Al. I mean, if they're going to win the Scudetto.
Listen, right now Serie A is not that good. We could all agree it's gone down a lot.
Yeah.
The best team is Juventus. Now, if Juventus want to be considered a good team in Europe, they have to have good players. And who are their good players? They're blue chips.
Vidal,
and
Pogba, Tevez.
I would put, because Tevez is already, he's on the 3rd floor. But Vidal and Pogba are both young, and it's safe to say that they're like Barcelona quality, like Real Madrid quality. So if Juventus want to be
The future.
a big team, they have to hold on to these guys. If they lose them, then they're just pretenders like everyone else.
Where does Fernando Llorente sit in there?
He's not even a starter for Spain. So that's just to tell you, he's a good striker. I don't think he's
He'll definitely get some playing time.
He's not
He gets
important.
a playing time. He'll get he's a maybe 10 to 15 goal scorer. I don't think he'll crack 20.
So what are they missing, Juve? Because for me, I think they're like the most well-rounded team.
They need to reinforce the defenders. I think guys like Barzai, he's injured every other game. I like Bonucci. Well, actually, I don't really like Bonucci. Cáceres is probably a good player. Bonucci makes a lot of mistakes. Chiellini is hot and cold. I think they need a world-class defender.
Okay.
Like Juventus is a team that could have used Vidic rather than Inter. They should have tried to pip Vidic, someone of that good.
That was a
experience.
target, right? No.
I don't think so. I don't think I heard it. And yeah, and I mean even
Well, they
Juventus,
got Evra. They got Evra, right?
Giuseppe, yeah, but I mean he's a wing back, and also I thought they actually absolutely needed someone to play with Tevez, and they didn't get him. And I don't know why they sold Immobile to Borussia. I think he could have been the guy. I think Tevez, Immobile would have been like,
I don't know. I feel like they would
It would have
step
been like
over each other's feet.
no, one plays on the. Tevez is a natural second point, and Immobile is a classic center forward. So I think the partnership would make total sense. But whatever, they didn't go for it.
So we had another game on Saturday, Roma-Fiorentina, 2-0 for Roma. Roma was looking, at least in my perspective, looked like the better team out of the two. I don't think Fiorentina had much on them. Probably player of the game, Alan, I think you agree with me, was Nainggolan for Roma.
Incredible. Yeah, honestly, I am no fan of Roma. I was actually hoping that Fiorentina would do a job on them, but I was like really impressed with Roma. They didn't give Fiorentina a chance to get in the game. That midfield of Pjanic, De Rossi, and Nainggolan, literally they bossed the entire game. Like Fiorentina didn't have a chance to get in it.
They play efficiently, yeah? They don't waste a lot of chances, and like you said, they boss around the middle.
They're just very vertical. I mean, when you have guys like Iturbe and Gervinho, they only know one speed. They just go vertical towards the net. Ball on the floor.
Go.
Yeah.
It's the finishing, though, that needs to improve, I think, for Roma. And in a guy like Gervinho, you have a guy that most definitely, I mean, he can ball carry. He can walk the ball right into the net if he wants, but...
I think Roma could have won this game 4-5-0 had they played a striker.
Definitely. Gervinho could have scored like a handful of goals. He ended up scoring one, but he could have scored a handful of goals. And I mean, it's
always can score a handful of goals.
My question for you is: do you think that Roma is a better team than last year? Because I'm not sure they are.
Listen, they have more padding, and by padding I mean they signed guys like Keita and like Ashley Cole.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're playing 2 competitions. You need to make the team bigger. So they definitely have more
Depth.
personnel. The big missing piece.
Benatia.
Yeah, Benatia. He's one of the best defenders in the world, and they lost him to Bayern Munich.
But don't you find it's funny how now they find themselves with a guy like Astori in their lineup? When, if you remember, okay, Benatia was hot during this transfer market, but I don't know if you remember about 2 years ago when Benatia was at Udinese. Who was the hot defender? Who did everybody want to get? Astori.
Yeah.
Benatia was just another guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just funny how all of that changes.
Yeah, because people realized over time that Astori isn't that good. He's an average defender, and I think that's gonna hurt Roma. I mean, if there's gonna be an Achilles heel the season is that they lost a really good center back. I mean, listen, they still have Castan, who didn't play yesterday, but he's still good, and it's probably gonna be Castan with either one of Manolas or Astori in the center back position.
So
But
that's basically what separates them from being a world-class team comparable to...
I wouldn't even say. Listen, Roma are a good team. Whether they're gonna, the big question for Roma is what are they gonna do in the Champions League this year? Because they have
a hell of a group.
They have a hell of a group. They're playing in the group of death with Man City and Bayern Munich. So everyone's asking, what are they gonna do? I mean, it's kind of unfortunate because there's some really shit teams in this Champions League that I think Roma,
Are
they
better
probably
than.
beat.
They got the EPL winner.
And the German.
They got the
Bundesliga.
Bundesliga winner. And I forgot who's the other team in their group. But, man, it's
CSK.
I think it's a Russian. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. CSK won the Russian league.
I don't remember.
I think they won the Russian league. So, crazy group. It couldn't have gone worse for them. Napoli's out of the Champions League. Honestly, guys, Italian soccer, it's not looking good for the next couple of years, like the way things are going. Really, I'm hoping Juve does really well, but this is going to be the first season where I'm actually rooting for a team like Juve and Roma because,
I will never get myself to cheer for Juventus or Roma.
for the good of Calcio, Al. For the good of Calcio. So, moving on to the Sunday games, we had this game, Milan-Lazio.
I only caught the highlights here. I didn't see this.
Same here. I only caught the highlights. 3-1 win for Milan over Lazio. Milan's looking good, guys. Milan's looking like a team that everybody's saying there's why I think they're not even going to make it to Europa. Now that they lost Balotelli, well, how are they going to, what type of team are they going to be? I think that they might end up being a better team. They might end up being a much better team. I don't know how much confidence I want to place because, look, if I compare this Milan team, the Milan team of 2014-2015, to that Milan team that won consecutive, that was always in the running for a Champions League title with Carlo Ancelotti, it's comparing apples and oranges. I mean, now you got a guy like Daniele Bonera playing defense versus having guys like Nesta, like a little bit later Thiago Costa. Now you got a guy in midfield like Pauli, versus having guys like Emerson. Now you got a guy like Pazzini playing as center forward versus a guy like Shevchenko in his prime.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Milan,
it's not comparable, but at the same time, Serie A is not comparable to what it used to be.
Exactly.
So I think that this Milan team might actually, I don't know, I think if I have to, I think they could finish top 5. Why not?
Top 5, yeah, they could definitely do it. This is what's funny about Milan. They spend very little money.
Lately,
Actually,
for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how much money combined total their starting lineup today cost them, but they only get players on free. And I think this is the problem. Like Milan as a brand is just as big as a Barcelona or Real Madrid or Manchester United worldwide. Yet they're treated with such, I don't know. I mean, I'm no fan of Milan, but I think Milan fans really deserve better. I mean, they have an owner that just doesn't invest in the club. But despite all this, they have managed to put together a good team of guys who signed on free transfers and their loan deals. I mean, they got a guy like Torres now who hasn't played, but I mean, I think Serie A is probably a good place for him to relaunch his career because he's been pretty awful for a while. And you have world class players like Nigel De Jong. Alex is pretty up there. Zapata, I mean, he's isn't the greatest defender, but he's a Colombian international. So that you have really good players, like even Honda, Menez, and El Shaarawy, mixed in with absolute garbage like Bonera and Zaccardo and Mexes, guys who really, it's a miracle. I don't know, they're lucky. I don't know how they're professionals. Like, they're just trash players. So yeah, despite all this, I think that they'll go under the radar and they'll still finish a top position, especially if you have someone like El Shaarawy or Torres that manages to get goals.
And what about Lazio here, guys?
Lazio, I've had a very, very good transfer campaign. They've also worked in the shadows. They're bringing in guys like De Vrij, the Dutch international, keeping guys like Bilia and Lulic, and
Candreva.
Signing guys. Yeah, and Candreva also was being looked at by Chelsea. And, they managed to get a guy like Marco Parolo, who's a decent sort of, Italian defensive midfielder. So, I mean, that pretty good market on their end. But Milan looked like a really good team today.
Well-oiled machine.
They're really together.
They also won the Trofeo Tim, so I mean, not like what I mean, the most important trophy to win, but there are good early signs, and it's a different Milan that I was expecting to see because of the fact that Balotelli is not there, and it's going to be more of a team play.
Anytime a big character like that, like the kind of like Balotelli, or any kind of guy that takes up a lot of space, in the team, in terms of personality, definitely the team is going to change as a whole, and it's fun to see the following season or the following game, how the team changes and who steps up, who takes the place of the guy that.
I think they're definitely going to be better than last year.
Yeah,
I think they even might. I mean, last year I think Milan. I don't know how many points they dropped on the big teams, but
it's funny because
I see them stealing a point off one of the big teams, whether it be Napoli, Roma, or Juventus.
About Balo specifically, before we said Liverpool might be a better team and Balo might be happier with Liverpool, and now
he says he is.
Milan is happier without, might be, but perform better without
you
Balo.
You don't want
I think,
a guy like that on your team.
I think that.
So why did they go get him?
Liverpool, listen, they needed someone to replace Suarez.
No, I'm talking about Milan initially.
Oh, initially because he wanted to play. He was a Milan fan. He wanted to play. That was his dream.
It didn't work out.
No, it never works out. Balotelli is unmanageable. There's not one man. This guy went through Mourinho, Mancini, Allegri.
And I think
one guy.
And I think let's put people on the list because I was watching preseason friendlies with Milan, and I think it was Guadalajara or something like that. He was continually getting hacked all the time. So then after he gets hacked outside the box, he just stares down one of these defenders, one of the Mexican defenders, basically starts showing him his index finger, shaking his index finger at him. He's like, don't worry, I'm going to get you. And walks away with him. No facial expression, classic Balo. Gets hacked again, takes a free kick, scores a crazy free kick goal. And you see the class of Balotelli. But then about 5 seconds later, you see like the dark side, basically. Mexican players clearing the ball. He just hacks him needlessly for no reason whatsoever. Looks at him and he's like, yeah, payback's a bitch, right?
Yeah.
And the half ends right there. Pipo puts his arm around Balo, starts talking to him. Mario, what's going on? And then second half, guess what? Balo's not playing anymore. So I think that's where maybe decisions were made after that game.
Yeah, that's
Could be just a theory that I have.
Nice insight.
I don't know.
Maybe Balo just had the biggest cock in the locker room and nobody could get over that.
Guys like Abate were jealous.
Could be, but all he's doing
Abate's
right now is talking shit about like Serie A and how he doesn't want to be there and how the EPL is a better league. So he's happy, Milan's happy. Hey, it's a better
He
situation.
has his
for
English accent on now.
Propaganda.
Guys, let's move on to a real team and talk about Napoli.
Napoli.
This game.
So this game finished 1-2. Genoa with the 1, Napoli with the 2. They're two teams that are gemellati, which means basically they share a common goal, which is hating Juventus, basically. No, they both came out of Serie B in the same year, and therefore basically the Genoa Ultras and the Napoli Ultras show a decent amount of love for each other. And anyways, back to this game. Napoli playing their usual 4-2-3-1. Came off the Champions League exit in Bilbao, and my heart was broken. And I don't know with how much enthusiasm I was watching this game, but I knew that it was extremely important for them to win this game. I mean, just for the whole environment. I mean, next game, if Napoli didn't win this game, not next week because there's the break, but the week after when they're playing at home, I think that there would have been like some kind of I don't know. There would have been murders. There would have been chaos.
Yeah, there's a big split now in the fan base on who's to blame for the recent drop in form. Whether
the finger right now is being pointed on De Laurentiis because, look, I was really following this team during their during the off season while they were getting ready for Champions League in Di Mauro, which is where they train. And where they have these shows and where De Laurentiis would be popping up and being very vocal and basically saying, look, for the first time, and I've never heard De Laurentiis say this because he's been the president for 10 years, this year our goal is to win the Scudetto. To come out and say that, and I'm going to buy the players to make this happen. It didn't happen.
no,
All he's doing is selling. He's in selling mode. He sold Fernandes. Look, it's a year and a half at least that we're saying what separates Napoli from all of the other big clubs in Europe. It's a world-class central defender and a world-class midfielder. A guy who can basically do it all. Yeah. What do? They sell a guy like Fernandes, who's one of the better defenders, played for Argentina, was a starter for Argentina, sold him for 10 million. Look, maybe he's not even worth 10 million, but sell the guy after you buy someone as good or better. Don't sell the guy and not replace him with anybody else. Same thing goes with the midfield. They sold Berami. The reason why they sold Berami, I think he's the best defensive mid that they have. The reason they sold him is because there's him and Benitez just don't get along. And this was revealed during the offseason. I was scratching my head last year. Why is Berami never playing? Now we know. So they sold him. Fine. This happens. You know, sometimes players and coaches don't get along. Yeah. But replace the guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yet, what do we hear? What transfer rumors do we hear, and what type of players do they get? They end up getting forwards. The money that was spent on a player called Michu, who played in the EPL. Last year wasn't really active. I mean, great. Okay, we have another guy for the bench. You know, we're still in Europe. Fine, we're in Europa League. We're still there. But fuck, man, let's get some defenders.
He would be a backup to Higuain, right?
He could be a backup even to Hamsik because he has qualities of a guy that can come in from midfield and he's really good at inserting himself inside the box. And he's an option for Napoli because they don't have a lot of guys that can, you know, in dead ball situation headers that are really good. They have a lot of these fast, you know, speedy guys like Insigne, Martins, and Callejon who are great. Insigne a little bit less as of late. And maybe you can talk a little bit about Insigne and your discontent with him.
Listen, Napoli's problem right now is that we have a manager who only knows how to play one formation.
4-2-3-1.
And he built a team around this, and it's apparent that this team is not built for this formation. It's probably errors in the transfer market. I don't know what. But it seems like they're an easy team to scout. Napoli, you know, we're not an easy team to figure out, you know. And that's it. You know, Genoa played a very smart game today. I was very impressed with the grit they showed for 70 minutes. They played really hard. You know, nice.
How many goals could have Pinilla scored?
He probably should have had 2 or 3. You know, and he only had 1. So it's Napoli. I wouldn't say they were lucky because I think they deserved the victory. just so you know, leading into the 95th minute, I mean, what kind of a message are you sending to the rest of the league? I think, if anything, we saw today that Napoli is a pretender. We're still not a Scudetto candidate after all these years of promises from the president. I think that it's obvious that after the first week of games that it's really going to be between Juventus and Roma. I think Napoli they're a step down. They're not as good. They're not as sharp as those other teams. So, I mean, I really like the new signing, Koulibaly. I think he's great.
Awesome game.
But, I mean, you have guys like Christian Maggio who he's clearly past it. He doesn't make good runs anymore. His defensive cover is atrocious. So, I mean, Napoli, I don't know. I'm hoping at least for second place. I mean, a good season for me would be second place and maybe, I don't know, hopefully, and this is very hopeful, a semi-final Europa League finish. I don't even want to talk about the Champions League because
on
just be
paper,
wasting
what
my
are
breath.
they? Give them a position on paper. I say third best in Serie A.
I think it's going to be Juve 1, Roma 2, and 3 is up for grabs.
I think it's up for grabs, but I think on paper they're the third best, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to finish third because they have a whole bunch of other teams that are right at their back that are almost as good, and it's very possible that one of those exceeds expectations.
I think that either Inter or Inter or Fiorentina have just as a good chance of taking that third spot. I think Inter have had a nice, really smart mercato. I think they signed some good Mazzari style players, and I think they're just as good as Napoli and Fiorentina. They had a rough opening game against Torino that are better prepared than probably the other teams in the league.
Are they a better or worse team than they were last year?
Who, Inter?
Napoli.
Napoli, I would say that they're...
I say they're worse.
I mean, I think it's still early to tell.
It's still early to say, but I'm going to say that it depends on a couple of players. It depends on Rafael. What I saw today was really positive, man. He made some really big saves. But you lose a guy, you know what I mean? You lose like a really solid goalkeeper. And you come in with this really young guy who didn't play that many games, so it's for sure it's a big question mark. Big question mark for him. Big question mark for Koulibaly, even though really positive signs from him.
It was great.
He's coming from the EPL, Koulibaly, right?
He's coming from the French league.
French league.
From the EPL, they have the game winner, the Canadian. We had a Canuck win our game today.
Yeah, Jonathan de Guzman got the winner at the 95th minute.
Nice.
And I like him just for the fact that he's as proud as hell to play for this club. So for me, that's always a good thing.
Really happy to score, and
Shall we move on? Torino, Inter, 0-0.
I only saw the highlights of this game. I mean, not much to say other than the penalty awarded to Torino was one of the worst I think I've ever seen, and Samir Handanovic getting the really nice save. I think that was probably one of the best things that happened. If I look at Torino, I think that losing Immobile and losing Cercina, who just signed for Atletico Madrid, I think that's big,
but still decent,
I think they made some decent signing in Quagliarella, and we're seeing that El Kaddouri is really stepping up to the plate. He's being more of a protagonist. I think that Torino's going to have a decent year. I think they built a nice enough squad to maybe go to the last, hopefully the last 32 of the Europa League.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Larondo, but Quagliarella is a hit and miss type of guy.
He's a guy who he's very smart. Like, the thing that remains about Quagliarella, he's good at smart. He's very smart at getting in space and in taking chances, because he always gets to get the shot. His problem is he cannot shoot on target. He balls wide over the net. I mean, but he's very good at getting in the space.
He takes his chances. Maybe that's why they go wide. I mean, at the same time, he could score like bullets from
rockets
from nowhere. But I never until this day I never knew how to define Quagliarella. What is he, or what type of a player is he? The way I like to define him as an egoistic support striker, which doesn't make sense. So he's usually a guy that I don't see him playing. You know what I mean?
The number 11.
I don't see him playing inside the box. I don't think that's his forte. But since he's not going to be playing outside of the box, he's not a good guy to set up, your center forward. I think his
plays
strength.
good.
I think his strength is shooting outside of the box, and I think he's really good at that.
Yeah, I never.
And he has decent pace, and he can challenge defenders one-on-one also.
I used to like Quagliarella before he went to Juventus. It was like my favorite player.
I used to like Quagliarella before he went to Napoli.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't like him once he went to Napoli. I think we saw the best of Quagliarella before that, right?
Yeah.
Udinese Samp days.
He scored some amazing goals.
I think him and Floccari were maybe the two players that scored the most ridiculous, you know what I mean?
Yeah, goals.
Goals in Serie A in the last 15 years.
Still, I think with the talent that Inter had on the field, I think they should have won this game.
I mean, what do you think about this back line of Inter? Ranocchia, Vidic, Juan Jesus. I think this guy's another hit and miss guy. Has really shit games sometimes last year.
I think that Inter. I think they're building Mazzari the squad of his dreams. I think slowly they're getting in guys like Gary Medel, and they signed Mvia, and now they got Nemanja Vidic.
They're young up front, eh?
They're good. I mean, guys like Kovacic and Icardi are like, that's a future, international stars.
So the plan is gradually Europa League, doing well in Serie A, doing okay in Europa League, gradually making it to the CL and making these guys grow, like Icardi and Kovacevic.
I don't know. They seem to be. They're very slick. They have guys like Hernandez and Nagatomo, and now they just signed Pablo Osvaldo. I mean, they sort of have they're building an identity. I feel, whereas other teams in Serie A they're still struggling. Like Napoli is
most definitely, because how many Argentinian players are on this team right now?
I don't know how many. Well, we have Icardi, we have Campagnaro,
right?
Calizzo.
But part of that old, you know what I mean, Inter crew that some say
8 or 9 Argentinians
was disrupting the locker room.
What do you mean disrupting the locker room?
Well, they said that there was this Argentinian clique in Inter who basically
Well, what?
Always. I mean, you look at Inter. What type of team has Inter had in the past 15 years? It's been, you know what I mean, Cambiaso.
Right. But what did they do to disrupt the locker room? Like
just very dividing the locker room.
Okay.
Exactly.
It's never good.
Creating like a clique.
I think Inter before Mourinho was a very individualistic. Well, they were like me growing up watching Serie A from the 90s until let's say 2006 or something like that.
Yeah.
Inter was always a very individualistic team. They always looked for individual talent, and instead of having, you know what I mean, like a group of players that come together and make something special.
When did Ronaldo play for Inter?
From
98
was his 97 was his first season.
Then he got injured in that famous Lazio Inter Coppa Italia game, and then things were never the same. Inter paid his salary, and then he said, "Fuck off, guys, I'm going to Real.
Ciao
Bello."
Ciao Bella.
And then just to put it in the ass without any Vaseline, a little bit harder, he said, "You know what, guys, I'm gonna come play for Milan."
Yeah.
So that was no class, man, right there.
Crazy. That was a
Anyways,
crazy
old school Serie A, fun to talk about. But
Cremonese
But-
against Reggiana.
but that's enough for Serie A, because we're gonna talk about another league. We're gonna
We're gonna go
about
on to Serie B.
Serie B.
Let's just make this all about Serie B.
Yeah, we'll do Serie C after.
Lega
Virtus,
Pro.
Lanciana, and
Lega
Sud
Pro.
Tirol.
Where's Capone? Call Capone. Let's get Capone on the phone.
Nice. No, I don't think we have the technology for that.
He knows what's going on in Lega Pro.
Next show, we promise Capone live correspondent.
Look, let's not promise things that we can't
We
deliver.
deliver on it.
Let's just go to La Liga. Let's talk
Jeff,
about La Liga.
Your favorite team in the world, Real Madrid.
My favorite team.
They got completely smoked by
What
Real
happened?
Sociedad.
Isn't that crazy, huh?
What do you think about that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. What do you want to say? Real Sociedad. Good team, no?
Listen, 2 games in, and they've only managed to get 3 points, losing. Listen, I think every year it's a given that it's either going to be Real or Barca. But lately we see a new contender and defending champions Atletico Madrid. So might get harder for Real to slip into the top two. And
Why?
Last year they finished third, but they won La Decima. But if they don't win La Decima, it's a complete disaster.
Of
for the
course,
season.
third with
Yeah.
no
with
champions.
with no trophies.
Yeah,
So
having spent 100 million on Bailey.
guys, I have to ask you your opinions, and because I think this is crazy. What sense does it have of giving up? I think Di Maria to make space for a guy like James Rodriguez. Now I know that James had a great World Cup. He was one of probably the best player, arguably the best player. But you have an absolute jewel in Di Maria. And this is what drives me crazy about the big Spanish teams, is that they're only signing players just to sign players.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily in the best interest of the team. Di Maria was so important for Real Madrid last year. Why would you give him up? And it's clear that James Rodriguez is not going to be the guy. I mean, obviously you have Bale to fill in Di Maria's shoes, but Di Maria is such a special player. I don't know. I don't get it.
Oh, and I don't either. And I mean, you kind of wonder who's running the show. Like it seems like somebody just wants to
It's never the manager.
sell the brand that is Real Madrid rather than make a good football team. So I don't know. It's weird. There's really nothing to say more than we're trying to put people in seats and sell tickets. That's really just it. We need to get the hippest, newest name.
Right, but are they doing something different that they haven't been doing in the past? I mean, this is Real Madrid. They'll buy Beckham because he's Beckham, or they'll get Zidane because he's Zidane. I mean, it's the Real Madrid of the present is the Real Madrid of the past. It's the same scenario. But I think guys especially if you play three up front, you know what I mean? If you have those esterni, like the people playing, your left and right forward, if you have guys like Di Maria, Bale, basically Ronaldo, you have basically the best 4 players in that position in your team. Yeah. Nobody else has them. You basically hogged up the whole market for.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, and it's not working. Imagine.
But I mean, he's an option.
Ronaldo didn't play this last game, right?
No, he didn't.
He didn't play. I'm wondering why he didn't.
Apparently
He's injured.
He's hurt again. Hamstring again?
I'm not sure. Is it still the patella?
He wasn't called up to the national team either for a friendly. So.
Well, that's it. So then you get a guy like Rodriguez that's playing in that, you know what I mean, on the side where I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I watched Colombia, didn't see him so much in the French league, but he's a guy that likes to play between the forwards and the midfield, right?
Yeah,
he plays in the middle. He played like that with.
So I mean,
with Porto too.
Di Maria would have obviously started this game over Hernanes. Yeah. So basically, you brought in, you let go of a better player. At the end of the day, I think you're less competitive as a team.
Di Maria was a better player, but he wasn't. They couldn't, I guess, sell him.
Also, lots of money. Yeah,
they couldn't sell him.
Lots of money in, lots of money out. So I really don't know what to make of it. I think overall,
I'm pretty sure that when they weighed how many T-shirts we're gonna sell, Di Maria T-shirts or James Rodriguez T-shirts, how many we're gonna sell?
Okay.
It drives me crazy.
It's James Rodriguez shirts, James Rodriguez shirts that we're gonna.
And I know that a guy like Ancelotti probably drives him crazy because I know he probably did not want to get rid of Di Maria, but obviously this is.
You know when they say Barcelona, más que un club.
Yeah.
I think they should start saying that for Real Madrid because it's more than just a soccer team. It's a business.
It's a brand.
It's a brand.
Yeah, I mean that's every team. It shocks me.
I mean, when you look at the EPL, you see
those
Manchester
are two
United.
very particular teams, though, eh? Those are two very particular teams.
Yeah,
those are institutions.
Barcelona and Real Madrid are two very particular teams playing in a particular championship that's run in a completely different way, like the rest of the big European clubs. I mean, I think that like Serie A, the EPL, they're more if we can call them egalitarian leagues in the sense that
they're more workmanlike.
They shared the pie. All of the teams share the pie all together, whereas I think Barca and Real are actually allowed to get their own, you know what I mean, their own sponsors when it comes to their TV deals, and it's not I don't know, enlighten me on if you know more about this. But from what I know, is that they're allowed to go get their own sponsors. It's not a sponsor that's basically.
Every team I think is allowed to go get their
I'm
own
talking
sponsor.
about television rights, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
not sponsors.
From what I remember is that in the La Liga, I think Barca and Real they get the majority share of the TV deal.
Like stuff like Barca TV, Real Madrid TV, where it basically you have.
They make their own money off that, and obviously they're the biggest clubs in the world, so they're gonna get a lot of money.
I guess it works for them.
But Barcelona does the exact same thing. They go out and get big names, but they don't have the same reputation that.
Well, look,
Madrid.
Barcelona. Look how much talent came out of Barcelona's youth system. So
That's
I
the
think
difference,
That's
exactly.
yeah.
Homegrown.
Is that Barcelona have one of the best youth academies in the world?
And on that, can we go to the Barca, or do we want to reserve, because we can maybe talk about their new talent, which is Munir El Haddadi.
From their youth academy.
Yeah, and this kid, because I watched the first game, I think it was against Lecce.
Elche.
Yeah, really impressive. Preseason friendly, did really well. Luis Enrique finds himself in a situation where he gets, Suarez, but because he's a fucking cannibal, right? He can't control himself, has to fucking eat players' arms off. Has a suspension. Neymar wasn't fit. He goes, you know what, kid? Welcome to the big leagues. And he delivered, man. He had a hell of a first game.
How old is he?
He's 18, I think.
Only 18, yeah.
Amazing.
He impressed the hell out of me. This kid's amazing. He's the real deal. But the question is he going to be like a lot of these, you know what I mean? Because Barca does bring up amazing youth players. But there's also been flops, man. Borja. Remember Borja when he left, how good he was? Bojan. Bojan. How good he was when he was playing with Barca, and everybody thought he was going to be the next big shit.
More recently,
Then he
there a
went to
guy,
Roma.
Thiago, that was
Yeah, he's in Munich.
moved to Munich. He's on loan to Munich, right?
I don't know. No, it was a full sale.
A full sale? But even him, he was supposed to be this huge.
Yeah, he's still young. He's still going to be up
he
there.
can,
I think.
he can still come out.
Even
He got injured.
Giovanni
He had a
Dos
bad
Santos, who they played against. Giovanni Dos Santos was supposed to be like another Messi, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't suck,
No, he's not Messi though.
but he didn't explode into that phenomenon that everybody thought he was
No,
going to
for
be.
sure.
So
I think that Barcelona made some really good offseason moves. I mean, aside from the ridiculous Suarez transfer, I mean, you have a good guy like Rakitic, who was one of the best players in the Liga last year. So, and then obviously bringing in a good,
Some good
solid players
delivery,
like Jeremy Mathieu, and yeah, bringing up guys from the youth system obviously is gonna help them a lot. I just right now they're in first place. I'm very, very curious to see what they're gonna look like with Suarez in the mix. How they're gonna because they're gonna change. They're gonna have to change their system because he's not a traditional number 9.
Well, he played a game with them. A game that
It was
were-
a pre.
Yeah, and did you guys see it?
I missed it.
No.
Neither did I.
But I mean, I imagine that.
Obviously,
The problem with Suarez, unlike a traditional number 9, Suarez likes to venture off. He likes to,
he needs a certain amount of space, right?
But he moves around. He doesn't stay in the 18. He's not like a guy like Luca Toni who's just waiting for the cross.
No, for sure.
He moves around a lot.
He's fast.
But the problem
Don't you think he's better suited in a team like Uruguay versus Barcelona, where they'll have counterattacking? It's less of a possession type of.
Well, yeah, I guess obviously on a team with lesser talent, he's gonna be the star.
Yeah.
But in a team like Barcelona, you have guys like Messi.
He's gonna
and
play
Neymar who do the same thing. Now, are they gonna run into each other? Are they gonna clash?
Magic, man.
Because
I
he's
think.
there to score goals. They need a guy in the 18 who just
Imagine-
simple knock them in.
Imagine the team you go for has Neymar, Luis Suarez, and Messi
Yeah. So,
as a triangle.
but that's what everyone's waiting. Everyone was waiting to see how those guys are gonna play together.
And then you
So
add
it could either be
guys
incredible.
like Iniesta to the mix.
Iniesta, Xavi Hernandez.
This should be illegal.
Xavi came on. Xavi right now is relegated to a bencher.
Bench warmer. He retired from the Spanish team. He's just he's there if they need him. And I don't think.
But-
I think he should have left. I think he should have went to MLS or something.
He's going to go to the MLS, no?
I think
Eventually,
he'll be.
I'm sure that talks are like underway for something.
Orlando team or one of those new expansion teams that they're coming out in 2 years. I think I read
I
something
don't know if
about
he
that.
signed.
Well, Kaká is going to be one of the players to go to one of those expansion
Kaká,
teams. Plays in Sao
Lampard,
Paulo.
Lampard is going to the New York.
New York
Rebels?
FC.
Or the second.
Shit, New York FC. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Guys, we're gonna touch upon the MLS. Thierry Henry. We gotta talk about Thierry Henry if we talk about.
We
what-
still got a lot to
this
cover.
one.
We got Bundesliga.
Bundesliga. Jesus Christ.
Honestly, dude, I didn't see a game in the Bundesliga. I haven't followed. How many games are they in, by the way?
This was the second.
week, no?
This was the second.
I think they started the same week as the French league.
Look, I watched Borussia Dortmund against Augsburg in the hopes that Ciro Immobile would play just because I wanted to see him play. But it was a really exciting game, fast-paced. Borussia Dortmund won 3-2. And they have a really good center forward who I'm probably going to fuck up his name, who was really who had a hell of a game.
Obiang.
Yeah, he's really his aerial play.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
What I like about him is his aerial play. Not so much what he can do like with his head, but just the way he coordinates a body and makes a shot out of nothing in the most awkward positions.
He's definitely.
And they were really looking for him. Marco Reus had an awesome game, hell of a game.
So he's back from injury because that's why he didn't play with Germany. It was hurt.
Man, he was the man of the match.
He's a real son of a bitch. That guy.
Yeah. Mike, the other big result, I guess, in the Bundesliga was Bayern Munich tying Schalke 1-1.
Right. I didn't see that game. I did see Leverkusen Hertha, at least parts of it. 4-2. A lot of goals. Another fast-paced game. Who's in top spot right now?
Check the standings. I don't know.
Bayern Leverkusen.
I didn't pull that up. I'm trying to find it on the.
Our specialty, access to information. We really got it down. We're gonna get the. Gonna get it eventually.
Fuck is it? Fucking mouse.
Oh, listen.
I pulled up the NASCAR results instead.
That's what you get when you're on fucking Fox Sports. Did you see Tony Stewart killed some guy?
I know. Did you see the actual death?
It's
pretty cool.
It was fucking wild, man.
So Leverkusen's in first. They're fine. 2 games in, 6 points collected. And then a team I never heard of in my life, Paderborn, in second.
Seriously.
Munich's looking on the outside with 4 points, 1 win and 1 draw. Bundesliga is a league we know is very good because they produce good teams.
It's just
However, it's so unappealing. Same thing with the French. The French league, if I'm not watching PSG, I just don't give a shit. I just can't get myself to care.
Yeah, it's weird.
There's so many generic teams, so many generic players.
Yeah, it's the same sport, same structures, same everything, but you just can't get into it.
Maybe the coverage is
I
shit.
can't relate to German football.
No,
either.
but I like. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing
Munich.
Dortmund and I love seeing Munich.
Munich.
Yeah, but anybody else?
I mean, Wolves, Werder Bremen. Once upon a time, were an entertaining team.
Yeah. What about Mönchengladbach?
Mönchengladbach? I can't even name you a player on the roster. Yeah, so that's it about the German league. I mean, I know it's good. I just can't get myself to care. I guess we'll follow it to see what the good because we know there's going to be good games. Everyone waits for Borussia Dortmund versus Munich. That's one of the big fixtures in all of soccer. But yeah, that's it, Mike. What do
You
you
guys
think?
want to start covering the
But
Turkish league?
Let's talk about your second favorite league, which is the French league. I mean, we got to talk about PSG. I mean, because I've watched the first couple of games, and Ibrahimovic was back. And all of a sudden, PSG ends up winning 5-0. They were tying a couple of games. Everybody was like looking at Cavani. Is Cavani now going to be the guy? Now he doesn't have any excuses. Now Ibrahimovic is not in the way. Now he can play the way he wants as an out-and-out striker. And they didn't win games. Ibrahimovic is back and PSG is back to winning. And guess what? Even Cavani scored. Ibrahimovic scored a hat trick. PSG is not in first place. Bordeaux is in first place. There was another good game, which was Marseille-Nice. So El Loco Bielsa picking up 3 points. Another win. So right now we got Bordeaux in first, PSG at their heels with 8 points, Lille with 8. And another interesting game that I started watching, but I couldn't get around to finish watching the full game, was the Monaco game against Lille. Monaco tied 1-1. And the interesting thing about that game was that Falcao actually didn't end up playing. Because rumor has it that he's on his way out. Now, which team is he going to? Nobody knows. I think he tweeted that my dreams have come true. What does that mean?
It's either between Real Madrid or Manchester City. And I doubt his dream was to play for Manchester City.
It has to be Real Madrid. Even Juventus. Even the team, they even said it could be Juventus.
No, I doubt that.
I think it has to be Real Madrid because apparently it's not a transfer in the sense that he's going to be bought, but apparently it's probably going to be a loan because he's been desperately wanting to leave Monaco. Monaco is like, look, we paid a bunch of money for you. We want you to play for us. We want you to stick around. If we sell you, we got to sell you, for a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
We're not going to sell you for like five.
When did they pick him up? 5 years ago? 4 years ago?
No, less than that.
Less
like
than
maybe
that.
3 years ago.
Exactly.
Falcao.
2 years.
Yeah, like 2 years ago.
And Monaco just started their whole
he only
money dumping
He only
shit.
played one full season with
Imagine.
Monaco.
Yeah, and then he was injured last season, so
Imagine the balls on this guy. Plays a season.
the guy's getting paid 15 million euros a season. So basically, I guess they're looking for, if they can't sell him, at least a team that will pay his salary, that's willing to say, okay, we're not going to invest in him, but this is a guy that could solve, our situation for a season.
Would you see that Madrid really?
Actually, no,
Look, it comes down to like what? How many players can afford a 15 mil? No one in Serie A. Even Juventus won't spend 15 million on a player.
Who
That's a
really
fact.
needs?
I think that actually, no. The more I think
He's
about
not going to go to Chelsea. Chelsea has Diego Costa. The fuck do they need Falcao
he's not
for?
gonna go
the more I think about it, I think that he's going to Man City because Real Madrid just signed. I just read they signed Chicharito.
They loan.
It was a loan. Yeah,
A
sorry.
loan.
I think it was even they paid for the loan. If I heard that correctly,
Oh, really?
like something like a small couple $1 million.
Chicharito was a super sub at Man U. He's gonna be a super sub
Let's
at
get
Madrid
serious.
too.
He's not gonna get a game. He's not gonna get a game at fucking.
I love fucking.
I think he's a good player. I think
Chicharito,
he's decent.
yeah.
I just, it makes no sense that the Real Madrid would sign both Chicharito and then Falcao, after that. And to me, it's a bit.
Falcao is more of a target guy, though. He's more of like aim for him in the middle type of guy, no?
They got
Yeah,
Benzema. You know what I'm saying? So
you have Benzema there, and you get Chicharito. It makes no sense to get Falcao. on
Benzema,
top.
then
he's going. It's guaranteed. He's going somewhere. It's just that everybody's scratching their head. Where?
No.
If he goes to Man City, I mean, Dzeko out the door.
Why would he go to
Zeko's
PSG? I don't see it.
no,
Hey,
he
no
can't.
PSG.
No, they already have.
Who got
Ibrahimovic.
PSG guys?
You know what I mean? It has to be one of those teams because they're the only ones who could afford a player like that.
He's gonna
So
go to obscurity in Russia. He's gonna
Good for
he's
him.
gonna go
Much
finish his
power.
career there.
Eto did it.
Yeah, and then he's gonna come back at the end of his career.
So his dreams were basically to
and
make.
play for Stoke.
Anyways, guys, about League One.
His dream was to play in Russia.
Guys, in League One, barring an absolute disaster, I don't see any way that Paris Saint-Germain does not finish first. Obviously, I think they're going to drop points here and there, but I think
I'm looking at Marseille number 4. Valbuena, didn't he move this summer?
I believe that he's in
Some remote
Mathieu.
league.
No, he went to Russia.
Yeah, exactly. Went to Russia.
Yeah.
Well, he's
Which
never
is
coming
crazy
back.
because I think that
Or when he does, he's gonna be shit.
honestly, I think that a team in Europe, even Spain, even could have used someone like Valbuena. He's at Dinamo Moscow.
Yeah.
Strange.
Great. Go get the payday and come back and be irrelevant.
Yeah, so, I mean, other than that, I mean, PSG is going to run away with it this year.
Yeah.
Guys, I think we covered all the leagues.
Guys, in 2 years, the Euro's in France. We go?
We're going.
I'm down. And we got to warm up by watching some Stade Rennes versus Lille.
Hooligan fights.
I actually hope Monaco gets something good going. Last thing on the French league,
I
because
heard-
of
I
Joao
heard-
Moutinho
I heard a rumor that
and
Monaco-
Ricardo Carvalho still play there.
that the owners might sell out Monaco because they're not happy with the outputs of I don't know what.
Arab money, oil money.
Yeah, Mike, anything else you want to add?
I just want to comment on the fact that since we're talking about PSG, it was revealed that Mazzari had the opportunity to buy Verratti 2 years ago for $10 million. And he said, no, we're not going to get him because this is when he was coaching Napoli. We're not going to get him because he's not the right fit for us.
No, he said that I won't make him play. But yeah, he played fucking.
He's like the identikit. He's the exact player that right now, if you put him inside of, you bring him to Napoli, all of a sudden Napoli might become a Scudetto contender, along with maybe another amazing,
What's
defender.
Verratti worth at? What's he valued at right now?
To Napoli, he's priceless. He's like MasterCard.
His market value. His Mastercard.
I think he would. Be
I would say he's like,
in the 20s.
yeah, at least.
Yeah.
Like, look, he's not a striker. You know what I mean? He's not an offensive talent, so that has an impact. You know what I mean?
But then again, like, how many really good deep-lying playmakers are there in the world? There aren't many to begin with.
Not that many, but he could be defined as a variety of things. Verratti, he's basically the future of Italy. So
Yeah, I think right now the transfermarket.com has
24?
24 million euros.
Yeah, that's
It's pretty good. I
and
mean,
Nice
it's on its
asset.
way up.
I think they only
It's on
paid him
its way
12, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's he's double what they paid. He's never played a game. He's never played a game in Serie A, and that's it. So we see more of an exodus of Italian players going
Overseas.
Good young Italian.
the
players.
good Italian players. You see,
The young ones, man.
Cerci left.
Immobile,
So the best
Cerci,
Italian
Cerci,
players are gone.
they're all in different leagues, man. We're spread out for the first time in a long time. We have players spread out.
First time ever.
Yeah, because
Cerci in Atletico,
before it was
Immobile in Germany, Borussia Dortmund, Verratti in PSG.
before it was a sin
Graziano Pelé
if
in
you left
Southampton.
Italy, right?
You could forget about
It was
ever.
a sin.
You could forget about ever making the national team.
Yeah, Zola made the national team, no?
No, he didn't. That was after you got.
He was in the national team.
he-
Then he went out. He was playing for Napoli.
He
then
went to Chelsea and he got dropped. No, he was playing for Parma.
Right.
He
Then he
went to
came back and he finished his career off with Cagliari, saved them from relegation.
Yeah. So guys,
And Balotelli, English.
Yeah.
So you got Balotelli in the English league, you got Cerci in the Spanish league, you got Immobile in the German league, you got Verratti in France. They're all over the place, man.
Yeah.
you have Marco Di Vaio for the Montreal Impact.
Amazing.
So guys, I think that's it for this week.
You got Clicito in Russia, who we could have maybe even used.
Nah, he's a fucking mediocre player. So guys, I think that's it for this week. I think we covered all the leagues. I think we're gonna do our best to do one every week.
We
Punctual
gotta brush
reports.
up on our German Bundesliga, man.
No,
I
guys,
have to
MLS.
I gotta call Bell.
Thierry Henry, man. Thierry Henry, guys, just to close, if you look up his goals, beautiful goals and beautiful passes. The guy is making the New York Red Bulls tick.
Look, the
He's
story
making them
this
tick,
week.
talk, whatever the
The
fuck.
story this week was Piatti,
Piatti.
Was using Montreal as a stepping stone for
Who
a bigger
you-
MLS club.
used to play for Lecce, but honestly, a player who had offers in Spain apparently.
Oh, yeah?
A few clubs in Spain wanted to get him. I think Montreal Impact dropped like 2.9 mil on this guy.
Well, listen. If he can get us to win some games,
He did finally.
2-0. 2-0. Against who? The Dynamo.
The crew, bro.
Columbus Crew. Usually we can't beat those
Higuain's
guys.
brother, Federico Higuain, creating everything. All very funny. It's funny because his brother's an out-and-out striker. He's
Yeah, I didn't remember this guy playing for Lecce. I think this is when they were at Serie B.
Lecce. Guys, go back to Lecce. Okay, guys, I think this is the end of the show. We'll end it on that.
salutations.
It's our word of the day. New young guy of the day, Ignacio Piatti. Look him up, guys. Put your money on him.
Real Madrid future signing.
Future signing, 100 million.
January transfer window.
Okay, ti amo, huh? Ti amo, Champis.
Proof is in the pudding, and the pudding in this case is a football. Booth, eat my goal. The goalie has got football pie all